Hey, kids, it helps if I turn on the microphone. Get it together, Murphy, at Super Talk 99.7 WTN. My name is Matt Murphy, and for the next 3 hours, we hold proceedings on Super Talk 99.7 WTN, on a variety of different streaming platforms, and on the television. We'll tell you all about that as we say pleasantries to you and yours. It's Thursday, September 14, 2023. Thank you for being a part of the show today. Whatever time you're able to give us, we are absolutely appreciative of it. We have 180 minutes together before we hand off to the drive with Brian Wilson. It's information-fueled and opinion-driven. News talk radio for the masses on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. It is episode 415 of these proceedings, and we hope that they will be good ones. 615-737-9986 is our telephone number. That's another part of the pleasantries. 615-737-9986. That is our telephone number and our super text number. And any conversation, turning a monologue into a dialogue, is always welcomed and appreciated. Thank you, thank you, thank you. What a gorgeous day in Nashville. What a gorgeous day in Middle Tennessee. Absolutely beautiful. Cooled outside. I had to pull out the old, by the way, headless bells behind the glass. Screening your telephone calls and, generally speaking, making sure that everything that comes out of our speakers sounds as good as possible. I appreciate him for that. We call him Headless Bell because he refuses to appear with me on television, and that's okay. Speaking of television, on the Super Talk TV side, find us at YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, Twitch. Just look up Super Talk 99.7 WTN. What is the title of episode 450? We need to start doing this because I never look. Bell, tell us the title of episode 415.
Matt Murphy. Going commando, noon to 3 p.m.
That's not true. I know I said it.
Don't lie to the audience. Don't lie to the audience. But
here's the thing. I had commando on the mind for a number of reasons. Not the least of which was the conversation that you and I were having right before the show involving that Virginia candidate for the House of Representatives. But I had commando on the brain. And I did. Have you ever tried that?
Yes. Laundry days.
Not
comfortable.
Have you ever, has there been a period in your life where you would, with any level of regularity, go without underpants?
No.
I did.
No.
I did. It's less intrusive? No.
Well, I got to tell you right now, I'm having severe title regret because I really wasn't expecting this conversation to become this deep.
Well, when you do the level of show preparation that I've done for this radio show, any port in a storm, my friend.
Anything to keep the needles moving.
Yep. You know what I'm saying? In a minute, I'm going to start talking about Friday Eve, for God's sakes. Oh, look, a puppy died. By the way.
It's Friday Eve all day long on the Matt Murphy Show.
Y'all have your fun. You make your jokes. You enjoy yourselves. I still maintain that I think it's one of the dumber things that I've heard in a long, long time become a part of societal parlance. Have all of your fun. I'm not here to stop you. I can't stop you. But just to know, every time you say Friday Eve, a puppy dies. I know that Bel K does not care.
I'm a cat guy.
Because he's a cat guy. But that said, yeah, there was a time where I went a little commando, and I don't regret it. I don't regret it at all. Todd says commando is easy access. Oh, pardon me, I am not. I didn't mean to talk above the audience where some of you might not know what going commando means. Why is it called going? There you go, Bell. That's what you need to do is do a little research and tell me why is it called
I've
going?
Actually tried to find that before because I was curious too. Because when I think commando, the first thing that pops into my head is the Arnold Schwarzenegger movie.
Yeah.
And there was so much.
Get to the chopper!
Yeah, there was so much. There was so much stuff saying, well, it's about this. There was no, it didn't seem like there was a consensus on the web as to where it came from. If the web's good for anything, it's consensus.
I would be willing to, I don't know. It would strictly be a guess, but it has to have something to do with the military, right? Wouldn't you think?
You would think so.
So going commando, for those of you in Aniana that do not know, means that you don't have any underpants on. You're not wearing any underwear. And And 7781 is now saying every time Chris Hand says the word based, a new puppy is born. No, that's not that. Please, for the love of God, then we're overrun with puppies. We have way too many puppies. If that's true, then we got way too many puppies being born. I love my boy Hand and his role in all of that. Actually, it should be a good friend of his, Brad Palumbo. I mean, was on Gutfeld last night. Brad Palumbo started Based Politics. That's what it's called.
Yeah, it's base-politics.com.
And I thought of Hand when I saw him. I thought, oh, look, these two guys get along, and they got the similar hairstyles.
Well, and also, I think Brad's younger than Chris, but he and Hannah are from that generation. Hannah Cox, his partner on Base Politics, are from that generation where that saying came from.
They're good. Well, hey, look, the youngsters these days, they talk in ways that I don't quite understand, but that's all good. I've been there, done that. Look, let's get into the meat and potatoes of the show today. We have Jerry Caldwell on the show at 12:35. We'll talk about the Bristol Motor Speedway race going on this weekend in Tennessee at Bristol Motor Speedway in Bristol, Tennessee. Just a brief little conversation about that. We'll take a respite from the politics and delve into the world of sports. Secondarily, we will do so in the third hour of the radio show today. We will be joined by Scott Southworth, who is a singer-songwriter in Nashville, Tennessee. And if you've never heard of him, you need to hear from him because he is an old-school soul when it comes to country music, and I love those types of guys. And I had an opportunity to meet him thanks to a mutual friend, Mark Allen Barnett, who introduced me over at the Bluebird Cafe some months ago. And I said, Scott, got to get you on the show, and we finally made it happen. We were planning on making this happen before the vacation and weren't able to do so, so we moved it over to this Thursday edition. Tomorrow on the show, just while we're signposting, I have Congressman Andy Ogles in studio at 1:05. We have scheduled to be on the show Freddie O'Connell right off the top at 12 o'clock. It was the only time he was able to do it. And I want to tell you why. It's Election Day in Nashville, and I anticipate a telephone conversation with Alice Rowley today. She asked me if she could call in. I said, that's fine. Call in whenever you want. If you're on the trail and you want 5 minutes, call in. She was just on yesterday in our studios. Here's why I believe it's important. And I think we're losing this in American politics, and it's to our detriment, that conservatives, libertarians, feel as if there is no need to engage with liberals. Well, that's the way that liberals think. And I'm not going to defeat liberals by thinking like them or becoming them. So I understand that if Freddie O'Connell wins the mayoral election in Nashville, that he is going to present more of a liberal vision for this city than Alice Rowley certainly would. Had I a vote, as I've stated many times in the past, I'd vote for Alice Rowley. But I live in Mount Juliet in Wilson County. I believe that access is important, and I believe that presenting conservative voices in Davidson County to the mayor of Nashville is very important. Because if you allow him to lose himself in a liberal bubble, he's going to go off the deep end. I have found Freddie O'Connell, while liberal, to be a reasonable person to talk to, and I will continue to attempt to engage him as much as possible and to hold him to account as much as possible. And that is where you have to hold me to account. I'm not here to be chummy with the guy. I'm here to speak to him about the needs of the people of Davidson County above and beyond the ivory tower that he finds himself in should he win the mayoral election tonight. Can Alice Rowley pull a miracle? Maybe. I don't know. Let's count the votes and see. But it is and has always been an uphill climb for Alice Rowley to win this election, considering the number of liberals in Davidson County versus the number of conservatives in Davidson County. And she is obviously the more conservative candidate. Now, for those purity testers out there, she's not conservative enough. And we might have a word or two about the purity testers coming up a little bit later on in the show. maybe a word or two. But it is Election Day in Nashville, and Alice will be on at some point today. She was on yesterday. Freddie will be on tomorrow. He'll be on if he wins, certainly. If he loses, I don't know. I don't know if we'll do it or not. And remains to be seen. But I do believe that it's important to speak truth to power when we have the opportunity. And we'll do that tomorrow with Freddie O'Connell starting at 12 o'clock. On the super text line, Michael says, wait, Andy Ogles on the Matt Murphy show is hell freezing over. There was Andy and I were at an event together at the Americans for Prosperity deal that I co-emceed with Pamela Furr a week or so ago, I guess a couple of weeks ago now. And he was in the same room, and I said what I said. I said, look, Andy and I got crossways during the political campaign. I think the discussions of our disagreements were greatly exaggerated. I used the old Mark Twain quote, the rumors of my death have been greatly exaggerated. I said, I think he's governed as a conservative. I think he's been a good representative, and I'm happy to have him. I think I said I'm proud to have him as my 5th Congressional District representative, and Andy came up on stage and gave me a hug. So, I mean, I don't know that it was the big tete-a-tete, salt talk treaties or whatever that some thought it was. We just, it all works out in the end, and it all worked out in the end, and Andy will be on to talk about impeachment, to talk about the other goings-on in Washington, D.C. He's fresh off a trip from Washington, D.C., first week back, and that's coming up tomorrow. Friday will be at 2 o'clock, Ray, to answer your question. So Freddie at noon, Andy at 1, Friday at 2. Don't tell Jay St. Clair that yet, Ray, because I have not. And so there you go. There's the lineup for today. There's the lineup for tomorrow. I mentioned that it's Election Day in the city of Nashville. What's the most important? Maybe it's a super text line question. What is the most important issue facing the city of Nashville? I do believe that it's not becoming other major cities that we talk about with regularity across the United States of America. It is up to the city of Nashville today, and they still have an opportunity to have a voice in this until 7 o'clock tonight, whether or not we are set to become some of the other major cities run by liberals all that we are watching going into the absolute toilet. Cities like, do I need to name them? I certainly can name them. California is Los Angeles, San Diego, Sacramento, San Francisco, obviously. Have you been to Denver, Colorado lately? A lot of homeless out there. A lot of homelessness in Albuquerque, New Mexico, and Austin, Texas, and Dallas. Oh, yeah, Detroit, Baltimore, Philadelphia, Atlanta, GA, cesspools, man. Bad news. And don't get me started about New York City. Eric Adams wants to blame it on the brown people. Eric Adams, were he a Republican, would be called a xenophobe by every major media outlet in the United States of America because he's pointing fingers at the brown people and saying, these are the problems. New York City had a hell of a lot of problems long before the brown people descended upon them, the illegal brown people. Have you noticed that every major city run by Democrats over the last 25 years has gone to poopy? Why do you think that is? Nashville's not a sanctuary city, is it? I don't think so. I don't think John Cooper was that dumb.
There's actually a state law against sanctuary cities.
Well, there you go. Thank you. Thank you to those leaders, those Republican leaders in the General Assembly that Gary Humble hates so much. Thank you to all of those leaders that passed that legislation. That's good. Tim writes in and says, you might have already done it, but don't forget to mention the racetrack and its fate if Friday is elected. That will secure votes for Alice from the racetrack fans. You know what? You're right, Tim. I believe this, and I said it to his face, and I've said it for the last several months. He denied it when he was here the last time. I believe if Freddie O'Connell, if Freddie O'Connell becomes the next mayor of Nashville, that the renovation project at the Nashville Fairgrounds Speedway is dead. I think that's baked into the cake. I think it's baked into the cake because of Colby Sledge, who up until this last election cycle was the representative of District 17, that area of town. Colby is in thick as thieves with Ingram, the owner of Nashville Soccer Club. Ingram's in thick with Freddie. Colby's in thick with Freddie, and that trifecta will not allow the renovation to happen, despite the fact that it will not cost the taxpayers any dollars, and despite the fact that it's the best thing for that track, despite the fact that that's something that's been here since 1904. It's all about a competing interest for concerts and other entertainment. And John Ingram has no interest in competing for entertainment dollars, and so he's trying to squash the renovation of the fairgrounds. That's my assessment of what's happening, and I'm right. And he will use all of his resources to get it done, to try to legally or however buy his way into a vote to his liking, despite what is best for the citizens of this city. Unless we rise up and stop him, the one thing a politician is fearful of more so than not having enough campaign money is you, the voter. And maybe we can put a stop to that. I did forget Tucson, Arizona. There's plenty of them, 14. A lot of liberal cities, a trail of liberal metropolitan areas that, and what do they say? Oh, it's not our fault. Oh, we've been in charge for the last 40 years of Detroit, Michigan. We're in charge of Minneapolis, Minnesota. We defunded the police there. We're in charge. Portland, Oregon has become an absolute hellscape on earth. And they can't get it back. You get it back with law and order and actually expecting a little personal responsibility from individuals, trying to get people some real help, some tough love. 6640 says if Freddie is elected, the first thing on his agenda will be to get the transgender benefits passed for Metro employees. This has already failed, but they're strong among those members of the benefit board that voted no. Taxpayer Nashville will be funding I don't know. It would not surprise me whatsoever. And then to put a final cap on the opening segment of the Matt Murphy Show, we'll say this. According to 5862, Commando originated in the 1970s when Vietnam veterans were returning, and they tried to avoid fungus issue with no underpants. That feels right. Yeah, I mean, jungle rot was a real deal on the feet and otherwise. So I'll go with that. It's 12:22 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Back in a moment. Friends, it's Matt Murphy for Steve Abramowitz and Mill Creek View, Tennessee. Mill Creek View, Tennessee is all about the podcast, and Steve puts one up almost on a daily basis. As a matter of fact, let me see if this is up. I just went to the mcview.us page, which is a fabulous resource, and let's see what's up right now. The latest, I've got a number of interviews. I got Phil Johnson being interviewed by Mill Creek View. Oh, look, my good buddy Gary Humble got recently interviewed by Mill Creek View, Tennessee. How about that? The movers and the shakers go to Mill Creek View to be interviewed on Steve's podcast. I was one of those some time ago. I'm certain that Steve's going to invite me back, and occasionally you hear him on this show. He's got his finger on the pulse of Franklin, Tennessee, Middle Tennessee, and beyond. And I encourage you to go and make yourself available to the podcast that is Mill Creek View, Tennessee. There's also some great news and information on the Mill Creek View homepage. It's where you get all your news that's fit to print. MCView, let's say it right, Murphy, mcview.us. That's mcview.us. And when you communicate with the podcast or communicate with the website, be sure to tell them that Matt Murphy sent you over to Steve Abramowitz and Mill Creek View, Tennessee. I mean, you do a little yard work, you notice some fading or chipping of paint on the exterior of your home. You don't think a lot about it, but did you know that with that fading and chipping, especially the chipping, that you could be endangering the wood on your home? That's right. The paint does more than make your house look nice. It also protects the wood, and it protects the very home that you live in. It's time to protect that which protects you by making sure that it's up to snuff. Now, visually, if you've got a problem and you want to repair that, Nashville Painting Company is the place to go. Jeremy Reeves is the guy to call. They're licensed, bonded, insured. They're locally owned and operated. I love these guys. They'll come out, no surprises. Whatever you want to do, whether it's interior work, deck staining, brick lime washing, whatever, they will give you a complete analysis. They'll give you color consultation, exact scopes, and exact pricing. No surprises. That's what I like to hear. Plus, there's a supervisor on every job, so you know the job's going to get completed quickly and efficiently. Let's get with Nashville Painting Company this fall and spruce that house up before the holidays. Do so by calling 615-635-0350, 635-0350, and tell Jeremy and his team that Matt Murphy sent you to the one and only Nashville Painting Company. I hesitate to bring this up now. By the way, it's the Matt Murphy Show, Super Talk 99.7 WTN. We'll talk about fun things like the Bass Pro Shops night race coming up that weekend. The events have already started at Bristol Motor Speedway. It's one of the most electric events in all of NASCAR. And Bristol Under the Lights, if you've never seen it, I've had an opportunity. I watched a dirt race under the lights a couple of years ago, and it was tip top. Jerry Caldwell will be on with us at 12:35 today to discuss that race that's coming up this weekend in Bristol. If you've never been, you got to go. It's just a one-of-a-kind experience. I hesitate to bring this other thing up. Have you heard the story? And I know we joke about you not being a dog fan, Belle. Have you heard the story about what happened at Percy Priest Park with a German Shepherd dog and a guy that shot that dog?
No. I mean, like maliciously shot a dog?
Said he was fearful of his life. And the police are not going to charge this guy. And I am told that the guy was sitting in his car when he shot the dog. And the dog was outside of the car. And if that's the case, if I confirm this, I've been told this by two sources. And if I confirm this, I'm coming down hot and heavy on the Metro Nashville Police Department to ask why in the hell they're not arresting this guy.
How can you be fearful for your life from an animal if you're in your car?
And it was at Percy Warner Park. I think I said Percy Priest. I'm sorry, Brandy. It's Percy Priest Lake.
Yeah.
And Percy Warner Park. I don't know. I understand that some people don't like dogs. I understand that some people are fearful of dogs. I also understand that there is a leash law. But if the circumstances surrounding this dog's death, I'm a dog lover, I'm a dog owner, I have 3. If the circumstances surrounding this dog's death are what I have heard, I understand the dog wasn't on the leash. I understand that, and that's a problem. And I'm getting a lot of responses on this. We're going to process all of these responses, and I'm going to get back to each of you on the super text line because, I'm just getting inundated with responses. Maybe the police don't have any other options here because the dog was off his leash, and you are legally required to have your dog on the leash. But by eyewitness accounts, the dog was not acting in any sort of threatening manner, and the guy was either just out of his car or he had the opportunity to be in the car. And the man in response said that his brother had been killed by a dog, that his brother was mauled by a dog several years ago, and he claimed to be afraid for his life. I don't know. We'll discuss it. I get it. it still pisses me off. I can get the facts of a situation require that the Metro Nashville Police Department do a certain thing, and it can still piss me off. And that's where I'm at on that. It's 12:31, Super Talk 99.7, WTN. Back in a moment. The Dr. Gill Center for Back, Neck, and Chronic Pain Relief is located in Franklin, and anywhere within the sound of my voice, it is worth the drive, friends. I can tell you from personal experience, I've made that drive many times from all around Nashville, Tennessee, because what you're driving toward is relief. You're driving toward comfort. You're driving toward the satisfaction of knowing that you can live a normal or a more normal life without the need for pain pills constantly, without the need for shots, and without the need for surgeries. That's what it's all about. If you have back pain, neck pain, hip pain, elbow pain, and particularly knee pain, they want to talk with you at the Dr. Gill Center for Back, Neck, and Chronic Pain Relief. They've been helping people for well over 30 years. They revolutionized chiropractic care in the city of Nashville when they brought decompression therapy to this community. They practice chiropractic care, but they also have state-of-the-art industry equipment like their Class 5 laser system, which they used on me, on my knee pain. They have spinal decompression. They have red light therapy. They have ultrasound therapy, which they also used on my knee pain, all to pinpoint inflammation in the body, reduce pain, reduce swelling, and accelerate healing. It's what they do. Let's get it on today. Let's make this appointment today. 615-882-4838. 882-4838 for the Dr. Gill Center for Back, Neck, and Chronic Pain Relief in Franklin. It is 1237, Super Talk 99.7 WTN. My name is Matt Murphy. Until 3 o'clock, you'll hear my voice hosting these proceedings. I'll hand the baton, the microphone, if you will, to Brian Wilson at that time. Coming up in the 2 o'clock hour, we will veer away. Well, we're actually about to veer away from political talk in just a moment and speak with Jerry Caldwell of the Bristol Motor Speedway. We'll talk with Scott Southworth in the 2 o'clock hour about his musical career in Nashville, Tennessee, and his new album. Also, breaking news of a political nature, Hunter Biden. You know the name? Hunter Biden? Ring a bell?
You want to get high?
Yeah. Hunter Biden, that guy, has been indicted on gun charges relating to lying about his past in purchasing a gun. That's all the information that I have, but I do have that information. A charge that was going to be pled down to a misdemeanor. He's now been indicted on gun charges, according to a variety of sources. Once I get additional information, we'll share that with you. That is just breaking moments ago. Hunter Biden indicted by a special counsel in connection with a gun that he purchased in 2018, which was an illegal gun purchase. Remains to be seen how forcefully they're going to prosecute that case. All right, let's turn our attention to some happier things, like the night race, the Bass Pro Shops night race at Bristol Motor Speedway this weekend. Jerry Caldwell joins us to talk about all of those things and to implore you, and I'm going to join him in doing so, get to Bristol, baby, if you've never been, because it is an experience like you've never had in your entire life. Jerry, how's it going, man?
Hey, we're doing great. Everything's wonderful in Bristol, Tennessee today. It's a beautiful day and great weekend for some racing.
All right, first and foremost, let's get this out of the way. How's the weather forecast? We looking good?
Beautiful.
Yep.
It is beautiful. Good Lord's blessed us with a great weekend. Going to be cool in the evenings and high 70s each day. So we're looking forward to a great weekend.
Jerry, it was difficult for me to understand Bristol Motor Speedway until I went. I mean, I've watched it on television for 25 years. But until I moved to Tennessee, until I got to Bristol, and now I've been to 3 races since I've been here. I've been here 2 years. I've been to 3 races. How do you describe Bristol Motor Speedway to people that have never been?
Well, it's hard to. You really need to come see it because, you know, you're in a bit more rural area in northeast Tennessee, right on the outskirts of Bristol, between Bristol and Johnson City, and what was one of the largest dairy farms in the area. So there's kind of hills and fields around us, and then it just looks like this massive spaceship has just landed in the middle of that field, which is what is known as Bristol Motor Speedway and the last great Coliseum. It just kind of descends up out of those fields, and you really just have to come experience. It's a bit, when you're here, like the State Fair meets a music festival meets NASCAR, kind of all in one. I had breakfast this morning with a lot of our campers that come from all over the country. We'll have people this weekend here from all 50 states and 20 different countries. And they come for the week. A lot of them have been here since Monday. They were the ones I was talking to this morning were from upstate New York and Pennsylvania and Ohio and all over. And they just descend on this place for a week of just fun and celebration and enjoying all the great things of our wonderful state of Tennessee and the sport of NASCAR.
One of my favorite things to do, not just at Bristol, and I've done it at Bristol, but any NASCAR event, is you walk through the merchandise area, the official merchandising area, and then even beyond that, you know, some of the guys that set things up, and just talk to some of those folks who have been a part of the Bristol experience, a part of the NASCAR experience for the many, many years that they have. And it's just some of the best people watching. It is some of the best conversation that you'll ever have. And that's not to mention all of the incredible racing that you're expected to go see on the inside of the track at some point.
You're exactly right. There's so much to do. I tell folks to come early, plan on spending the day before you ever get to the race. I mean, we've got a doubleheader tonight with trucks and ARCA. Racing starts at 6 p.m., but people have been on property since 9 o'clock this morning, enjoying all the different things there are to do. We've got music playing, lots of vendors to check out their setup. Bass Pro has an amazing setup. We have bull riding. We've got a thing called the Globe of Death with motorcycles that get in and go around like you would see when you were a kid at the circus. Just all kinds of fun things for people to do. Lots of stuff for kids. Kids are free tonight and tomorrow night. So it's a wonderful opportunity for folks to come out and enjoy a fun evening, but do it at an affordable price.
Well, it's a great family-friendly atmosphere, even for those that are not immersed in racing. But if you're immersed in racing, you already know that you got to go, because not only do we have the trucks, as you mentioned, tonight, and ARCA tonight, but tomorrow you've got Xfinity. And then Saturday is a big elimination race. Tell me a little about the elimination race. Who's on the chopping block, Jerry?
Yeah, well, we've got the every night. So tonight, tomorrow night, and Saturday night are playoff races within the NASCAR playoffs, whether that be trucks or Xfinity or Cup. But the Cup race on Saturday night, Bass Pro Shops night race, it's the most anticipated night of the year for many NASCAR fans. It's the Bristol night race. We've got Martin Truex Jr., Bubba Wallace, Ricky Stenhouse Jr., and Michael McDowell, who are all trying to break their way in there. Right now, they're on the bubble heading out. So we've got 16 drivers in the playoffs, and after Saturday night, there will only be 12. So a lot of excitement around that on who's going to be able to make their way in. But tomorrow night for the Food City 300, first time ever for a playoff race at Bristol in the Xfinity Series. But not only that, we're going to have Dale Earnhardt Jr. back driving. And he only does this once or twice a year, and he's chosen to run Bristol. So we are thrilled to have him tomorrow night taking on the high banks of Bristol and seeing Dale Jr. back in a car.
You know, I saw, or maybe it was on his podcast, where I thought of the phrase like a moth to a flame, because he said he couldn't help himself. He said that he just could not help getting back into the car and driving the high banks of Bristol because he loves it so much. And, I mean, that says a lot about what a driver loves about Bristol, and what they love about Bristol really translates into the stands, Jerry, if you know what I'm saying.
It really does. It does. I mean, and I think Dale Jr. says it a lot, but he'll say, if people ask me, hey, I can only take my friend or my boss or whoever it is to one NASCAR race, where should I take them? And he'll always say, take them to the Bristol night race. And that's such an honor for us, but it's also just such a testament to the history of this place and how special it is to be able to come see what takes so many people back to their childhood of Saturday night racing, whether that's at the Nashville Fairgrounds or anywhere else. It takes you back to feel a lot like that. It's a short track, half-mile racing, and just a really special place. It's going to be a big night. We'll have Midland performing on Saturday night before the race, and then Saturday night, if you can't make it over, tune in on USA. It'll be at 7:30 or PRN for radio, but it's going to be a really special night.
Well, it's going to be a lot of fun, a lot of beating and banging. I mean, you know how much beating and banging toward the end of that race that there will be, considering the implications moving forward. Bristol as an elimination contest is just a perfect matchup, because we're going to see some hurt feelings, Jerry, but you know what? From our perspective in the crowd, we kind of like that. You know what I'm saying?
We love it. You know, that's what we want. And the nice thing about Bristol, or exciting thing about Bristol, is that the drivers can't get away from each other. So they're going to bump into each other. They're going to be – it's just tight quarters. It's Saturday evening. The lights are down, or lights are on. The sun's down. There's just something about it, and drivers can't get away from each other. So it's a perfect opportunity for some payback for some things that have maybe built up. Bristol's a place where you can kind of get by with it and get by with saying, oops, I didn't see you there. We all know that's not true.
Right, but that's what they'll say. They always say that, but we know what we see with our own eyes sitting in the stands. How can folks find out more? How can folks get tickets for either tonight, tomorrow night, or Saturday?
Well, come join us. Give us a call at 423-BRISTOL. We'd love to have you. Or the easiest thing to do is go to our website, bristolmotorspeedway.com. And we still have tickets available.
Jerry, thank you so much for everything you do, and we'll see you very soon. Take care, man.
Thank you, Matt.
All right. There's Jerry Caldwell with Bristol Motor Speedway talking about the incredible weekend of racing going on. You guys know how much I love NASCAR, and I love those guys over at Bristol, and I wish them the best. I did not ask him intentionally about raceway renovation, at the Fairground Speedway in Nashville, because I know that Jerry is taking a wait-and-see approach, and I understand that. He's got to get a new council in place and a new mayor in place. For those of you wondering, if we were going to ask him about that, it's kind of a wait-and-see approach with that right now. It's 1246, Super Talk 99.7 WT, and the breaking news that's happening right now, Hunter Biden has been indicted on 3 gun charges, and I am working to get some specific details on exactly what that means. We know that – hold on, just let me see this. We expected that there would be some gun charges forthcoming. I'm just trying to get to my breaking news page here. We expected that there would be gun charges forthcoming, and now there have been 3 separate charges Hunter Biden has been indicted on.
You want to get high?
And I wonder what Karine Jean-Pierre will say at the old podium today. She takes to the podium to answer questions.
I would refer you to Hunter Biden's representatives. This is a personal matter.
Oh, wow. That's pretty good, Bell. It's like you've watched one of these press conferences before. Hey, can you tell us about the President of the United States and the impeachment charges against him? Karine Jean-Pierre, please.
I'd rather talk about Hunter Biden.
So there you have it. It's funny how these things break. I'm just saying that these things conveniently break. I believe that they're interrelated, don't get me wrong, but I also think that any conversation that the media was going to be having about the potential impeachment charges against President Joe Biden will now take a back seat to the conversation about Hunter Biden and the gun charges and how all of that's being resolved, and the President of the United States had no idea that any of it was going on. Let's get to Brent real quick in Mount Juliet. Brent, what's on your mind? How are you, sir?
All right. How are you doing?
I'm well, Brent. Thank you for your call.
Yeah, I was wanting to talk about the mayoral race here in Nashville, and I just wish Alice would have gone after Crime Time Freddie a little bit more than what she did. I thought she made it well, I guess one thing I don't understand is why our Republican candidates try to make something so difficult, and she needs to make it easy for people to remember who she's running against instead of making it so complicated with listing out all these things about the candidate instead of just making it something simple where when voters go into the voting booth, they remember something simple like maybe Crime Time Freddie instead of trying to remember all these things that he's not in favor for in regards to crime. And I just wondering what your thought is on how candidates run their campaign and why Republicans make it so difficult for people to get energized about. And, I think one thing with Trump, whether you like him or not, he made things simple for people to remember, and he made it simple for people to get out and talk about the negative aspect of the other candidate and what's positive about him.
Yeah, I mean, I get where you're coming from on this, Brent. Here's the thing. The worst thing that we can ask of a candidate is to be somebody that they're not. And I share I don't guess it's frustration, at least on my part. Maybe it is on your part. I share your concern that maybe there wasn't as aggressive of a pushback against Freddie O'Connell's decision-making as a city councilor as I would like to have seen. Let's put it this way. If I was running for mayor, I would have been far more aggressive, but that's in my nature. I don't think it's in the nature of Alice Rowley to be that aggressive. I don't pretend to know her as well as some, but I've gotten to know her during this political campaign, and she believes that if she presents a set of ideas and you compare those ideas against Freddie O'Connell's ideas that she's going to win every time in terms of moving Nashville forward as a mayoral candidate or as the mayor herself. So I think she just believes that an overlay of ideas, she's going to win on that front. So,
well, that's what every Republican candidate in Nashville's done over the past years of elections, and it's just the same boring, stale ads. And I'm not saying she definitely doesn't need to be like Trump, but just do something where you give people something to remember about her and about the other candidates, and get the radio community excited about talking.
Well, let me do this because I'm running against the clock here right now, Brett. Let me reflect on this after the break because I think it's a very, very important question. But I would ask the general audience this: ponder this while we go to break. How many Republicans, as a percentage, do you think are in Davidson County? What do you think the split is? What are the amounts on the conservative side of the ledger versus the liberal side of the ledger? What do you think? 65-35? 70-30? I think if you put that in your brain, Brent, you'll begin to understand the uphill climb that it is from the beginning. And I don't know that you win over those moderates or those squishy liberals by being more aggressive. It's a tough box to be in. It's 12:53 on Super Talk. Puppy died. No, don't do that. Don't do that. My name is Matt Murphy, and I do not endorse what just happened on these airwaves. That is Bell K. I can spell out his name for you. I can give you a photograph of him. Whatever you need, I'll give it to you. Let's talk about defense systems for a moment. Brink Fiddler, I'll endorse him, I'll tell you that, because he's so good at what he does and how he does it. He worked for almost 2 decades in the Metro Nashville Police Department, and then he left the police department and started Defense Systems, which is a life safety and security consultation firm based in Middle Tennessee. They have expertise in that they've conducted over 1,000 high-risk law enforcement tactical operations. They understand how to break into things. They understand how to prevent people from breaking into things. They also understand active shooters. They understand workplace violence prevention. They can give you a site survey and offer you a threat assessment, emergency and intruder action plans, rapid response medical training, and all of these things can be customized to your facility, whether it's a workplace, a school, or a church setting. They will customize it specific to the needs that you have in that setting. Reach out today at 615-236-6484, 236-6484, or defendsystems.com. Tell them Matt Murphy sent you. Hope is not an action plan, friends. It is time to get trained. Train with the best. Defend Systems. defendsystems.com.
From ABC News, I'm Michelle Franzen. The investigation into Hunter Biden taking a new turn after an earlier plea deal between Biden and federal prosecutors over his taxes fell apart this summer. Special counsel David Weiss filing 3 gun-related felony charges against President Biden's son Hunter. 2 of the counts are related to false statements. The third, illegal possession of a firearm. ABC's Pierre Thomas has more.
His attorneys have pointed out that these are not the kind of cases that the Justice Department typically brings. A single case involving filling out a form illegally, if you will, that typically to get a gun charge like this, something else would be attached to it, like drug dealing or some kind of crime of violence. They believe that this is highly unusual, and they will make that case now, obviously, in court.
The White House has yet to respond. A judge in the Georgia racketeering case ruling that the trials of Kenneth Chesbro and Sidney Powell be severed from the other 17 defendants, including former President Trump's trial. It's seen as a blow to the district attorney's efforts to try all defendants in that case together. Government funding set to run out at the end of this month, and lawmakers are far off from a new budget to avoid a shutdown. House Speaker Kevin McCarthy shaking up his caucus to agree to a spending package.
I showed frustration in here because I am frustrated with the committee. I'm frustrated with some people in the conference.
In front of a group of reporters, House Speaker Kevin McCarthy says Congress isn't leaving until lawmakers pass a dozen appropriations bills or go into conference to work out differences. McCarthy says the best thing to do moving forward is to get the work done.
We had the DOD appropriation bill yesterday. I couldn't put it on the floor. I don't have one complaint by any member of what's wrong with this bill.
Ike Ajachi, ABC News, Washington.
Hurricane Lee churning in the Atlantic and expected to make landfall near Nova Scotia this weekend. You're listening to ABC News.
Hey, folks, it's Matt Murphy. Let's talk about your safety. Let's talk about those things that keep those things safe. that keep you safe. I'm talking about a safe from Nashville Safe House. Mark and his team want to help. They've got so many safes in stock. I mean, they've got the best selection that I've ever seen with regard to safes right here in Nashville, Tennessee. They've been servicing Middle Tennessee for a lot of years, over 30 years now. The Nashville Safe House has been in operation, and they not only have multiple different styles of gun safes, corporate safes, jewelry safes, whatever you might need. They also have vault doors. So if you're looking for something a little bit bigger, they've got it at Nashville's Safe House. Go by and see them on 4th Avenue South. See the incredible selection. Ask about some of their rebates and discounts. They've got more brands than you could shake a stick at. They've got Browning. They've got Fort Knox. They've got everything that you can imagine right there at Nashville Safe House. Browse through. I promise you'll find one that's right for you. Here's a hot tip. Buy a little bigger than you think you need, because I promise you'll fill it. Nashville Safe House wants to see you. Tell Mark we said hello. They're on 4th Avenue South or online, NashvilleSafeHouse.com. That's NashvilleSafeHouse.com. Here we go. It is hour number 2 of the Matt Murphy Show, Super Talk 99.7 WTN 106 this afternoon. Thank you for being with us. Whatever time you're able to give, we're appreciative of it. Thursday, September 14. It's our episode 415. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Beautiful day in Music City. 615-737-9986 is our telephone number. 615-737-9986. Coming up this hour, I have an update on the New Mexico governor, Michelle Grisham, and the ridiculous suggestion that she believes that she has the authority to suspend constitutional rights unilaterally. And now she's being told, or rather she's telling anyone who will listen, that she's not about to be lectured about constitutionality by anybody. Well, I think you might need it. More on
that. It's that judge that needs it. It's suspended her order. He needs constitutional.
It's that judge, and it's every other American that's looked
all the
at this
Democrats
case.
that argue with her. They need it.
Yeah, every other American that understands the Constitution of the United States of America that has takes an exception with her order. Well, I guess we need to go back to Constitution class because she knows better than us. Because these things aren't absolute, and she absolutely has the right, according to the New Mexico governor, to just unilaterally suspend your constitutional rights when she deems that an emergency situation has given her the ability to do so. In the meantime, the breaking news this afternoon that we covered for you about 30 minutes ago, first son, Hunter Biden, has now been indicted by a special counsel, David Weiss, on 3 counts of illegally possessing a firearm while addicted to drugs. The charges carry up to 10 years in prison. They're the first to be filed by Weiss against the 53-year-old Hunter in his special counsel role. The first since a plea deal broke apart, and we'll talk about that in just a moment. The new charges were filed a couple of days after House Speaker Kevin McCarthy announced an impeachment inquiry into President Biden's involvement with his family's overseas business dealings, which centers on Hunter and the first brother, Jim Biden. These charges relate to 2 charges are making false statements to authorities, and 1 charge is the possession of the gun itself. So, and as I read here from the New York Post, I'm looking at a bunch of naked pictures of Hunter. Why do I need to see naked pictures of Hunter Biden in relation to this story? I guess it's because he's holding the gun. Why are you allowing people to take naked pictures of yourself while you hold an illegally possessed weapon? Oh, wait, you're on crack cocaine. That's why. Oh, I got it now. Oh, yeah. Okay. Now it makes sense to me. Yeah. When you're high on crack cocaine, you do these sorts of things. Like, taking naked photographs of yourself with your crack pipe and your illegal gun and your hooker. That's what crack does for you. Hey, but it'll keep you thin. Doesn't do much for the teeth, though, or the skin. So I'm told. I wouldn't know. So that the charges carry up to 10 years in prison. There is 0.000 chance that Hunter Biden will receive 10 years in prison, especially if his father has anything to do with it, considering I expect that there's going to be a pardon coming at some point or another, especially if someone within the Democrat Party convinces Joe Biden that he does not need to run. Now, Joe Biden is a stubborn old mule, and he's a stubborn old mule with dementia, and dementia will add an element of anger to all of this.
Want to see my temper? Keep going.
I expect to see it at some point or another, Mr. President, if you remember what that's like. I don't know. Your thoughts on this? 615-737-9986. David Weiss throwing charges down. So if you recall, the prosecution in this case thought they had a pretty sweetheart deal cobbled together with Hunter's people. And it was a pretty sweetheart deal for Hunter. But they were trying to have it both ways. They demanded that the judge in the case accept the premise that the investigation was ongoing, but also presented a plea deal that would prevent any future prosecution of Hunter Biden. That's why the plea deal broke apart. Remember? They went before a judge, and they said, we're going to, set aside most of the gun charges, and he'll go to, drug interdiction and all of that. And, it was a sweetheart deal that eliminated all the felonies, that brought him down to misdemeanors, that really was going to present no opportunity for jail time. And it also granted him immunity for any future or further prosecution. And the judge, thankfully, in pointing this out, asked the prosecution if the investigation was over. The prosecution immediately said no. The investigation is ongoing. Why did they do that? See, in order to grant Hunter Biden immunity from any future prosecution, the judge needs to know that the prosecution's done. But the prosecutors, in an effort to protect Joe and Hunter, could not say that the prosecution was over. Because if they say the prosecution's over, that gives the House of Representatives and the Oversight Committee latitude to swoop in, get all of this evidence together, and see exactly what they're dealing with. Well, the Democrats could not have that. They cannot have James Comer and the Oversight Committee or any other Republicans in the House of Representatives snooping about and finding out exactly what Joe was doing and what Joe knew and when he knew it. We all know these things. Right? It's like there's a month delay in the media cycle where we all learn something or we know something, we talk about something on the Matt Murphy Show or on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. And then a month later, it's breaking news on #NeverCNN, or it's breaking news in the New York Times or the Washington Post, because these organizations are so loath to tell you the truth about the Biden administration. We are not. So it's like a month of delays. So 3 charges, 2 relating to false statements, 1 illegally possessing the gun, potential of a 10-year sentence. He'll never sniff a jail cell, sadly. Before that happens, Hunter Biden will be pardoned by his father, which is how I think all of this is going to work out anyway. After all, Joe loves his son. That's why he called him in all those business meetings. Did you hear that the other day? That it wasn't Karine Jean-Pierre. It was another spokesman for the Biden people.
Kirby?
No, it wasn't Kirby. One of the spokespeople in Camp Biden actually said, 2 things. They said that there's no evidence whatsoever of any sort of relationship regarding Hunter's business and Joe.
Well, there's not until you open your eyes.
Mm-hmm. That's right. But also, when asked, why the phone calls, said, listen, we've been over this before. I can grab the clip. I didn't think this would come up, but sometimes these things pop in my head. He said, look, we've been through this before. Bell, Joe loves Hunter. He loves his children. He loves his grandchildren. We've told you guys. He calls them every day.
To check on his 10%.
Just to check in on. No! How dare you, Bell? It's not about the money. It's about love. Just ask Susanna Gibson. Just the tips. Just the tips. It's not about the money with Joe. It's about love. He loves his son. He was calling to check in on him during his business dealings with the Red Chinese. And he was calling to check in on him during his business dealings with the Ukrainians. And the big guy was calling to check in on him to make sure that he had gotten those offshore accounts put together to make sure that, the authorities couldn't track the money and see that it was going to the big guy. It's all about love. It's all about love. What a joke. By the way, evidence.
Give me a break.
We have email aliases. We have bank accounts, millions of dollars flowing into the Biden family. We've got, literally we have a video of Joe Biden bragging about getting the Ukrainian prosecutor fired because they were looking into Burisma, a company that his son worked for. You've got whistleblower testimony. You got
flat out factual evidence that he lied when he said he never interacted with any of Hunter's associates.
You've got Hunter Biden's own statements from his laptop computer about having to funnel money to his father. You've got texts, you've got emails, you've got a chain of evidence, and yes, you've got an investigation into these 20 dummy bank accounts trying to put all of this together. There was one point where I saw an email where they were saying, it'll take people 30 years to put all of this stuff together to figure out where the money's going. I don't think it'll take that long.
All you need is one forensic accountant, and he's done.
I bet Paul could figure all of this out. Don't you feel like Paul Winkler could figure all of this out if we gave him the evidence? I know that he doesn't dabble into the politics like that, but he's just so good with math.
Yeah.
And money.
Paul's good at everything. I could take him my car and he could fix it.
Yeah, I bet. I believe that too. 116 Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Late breaking news: Hunter Biden charged 3 charges on the gun the relationship between him and that gun. Jeff is in Nashville with a thought on this. Jeff, what's on your mind?
That's Joe.
Well, I'm sorry, Joe. It said Jeff on my screen. I apologize for that. What's up, Joe?
Hey, I got a question for you. Every time Hunter or Mr. Biden gets accused of something, the very next day they give some trumped-up charges to Donald Trump. So what's going to be released tomorrow on Trump?
I don't know. It's a great question. What's left?
Exactly.
What's next? Maybe they'll charge Donald Trump with some sort of, suspicious activity here in the state of Tennessee. Maybe they'll claim that Donald Trump didn't win Tennessee. I don't know, but you're right. It does seem like the media tries to shift the narrative, or actually, I would say the Democrats shift the narrative and the media goes right along with them because they're the propaganda wing of the Democrat Party.
Well, I'm just saying, it is Thursday. There is still Friday tomorrow. So, there's going to be some kind of bombshell dropped.
You never know. Nothing would surprise me, Jeff. Joe, pardon me for saying Jeff again, but I looked up and saw it on my screen. Nothing would surprise me, Joe. The Democrats will do anything in their power to deflect attention away from this issue.
You're a lying dog-faced pony soldier.
But I'm wondering if this is not the deflection. Let's think about this a little differently. The news that the House of Representatives had taken up an official impeachment inquiry broke this week. And the mainstream media's excuse for not covering it more vociferously was to tell you that there was no evidence. Well, I just laid out some of the evidence. I can do it again, and that was off the top of my head. I'll tell you that there were text messages between Hunter Biden and his father found on his laptop computer. There were text messages between Bobolinsky and Hunter Biden regarding the big guy. There's like 4 or 5 people that have corroborated the idea that the big guy regularly referred to in Hunter Biden's laptop is Joe Biden. We have a direct link between Joe Biden and a variety of different business officials with the companies that Hunter Biden was working for that goes against his repeated claim that he never had any conversation with his son about his business, never once, not ever, 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 and never involved himself in his business dealings. You have WhatsApp, those messages that came up. You've got multiple photographs that came from Hunter Biden's laptop computer showing Joe Biden with the business agents that he claims he never had any dealings with. You have 2 separate whistleblowers in the case. You have an FBI allegation regarding recorded telephone calls between Joe Biden and Burisma, an executive there. Remember that? That they claimed that there was like 17 different recordings of a call between Hunter Biden and this guy and 2 between Joe Biden and this guy.
None of that counts as evidence.
That was Chuck Grassley.
None of that counts as evidence. Stop saying this stuff. It's not evidence.
What about the FBI informant that's willing to testify under oath before a court of law alleging that Joe, Jim, and Hunter Biden all engaged in bribery with foreign agents?
That person was a January 6th conspirator.
What about the millions of dollars flowing into the phony bank account? So you've got like 20 dummy companies and accounts that have been set up overseas in order to launder money. You know,
nobody wants dirty money. You have to clean your money. That's why you get sick with COVID, is because your money's dirty.
That's true. I mean, you got to wash the cash. I thought of Joe and Hunter and Jim the other day as I was watching one of my favorite all-time feature films, Goodfellas. Now, if you've never seen Goodfellas, I would ask, what are you doing with your life? Well, probably living it. Secondarily, if you want to see Goodfellas and you never have, know this. You better be ready for the F-bomb because it's there in abundance. So it's not for the faint of heart. I think Goodfellas, Martin Scorsese's Goodfellas, held the record for the most F-bombs in a film until The Wolf of Wall Street. You can fact check me on that. But I'm pretty sure
that sounds right.
The Wolf of Wall Street has more F-bombs as a feature film, mainstream feature film, than any other movie in American history. And it bested Goodfellas. One way or the other, I was watching the end of Goodfellas, and I realized it took me on a dive on the Lufthansa heist. It's a major plot point in the movie Goodfellas about Henry Hill and his eventual move to the FBI witness protection program. Jimmy the Gent orchestrated the Lufthansa heist. But it reminded me that the Biden family launders money in the same way that the mafia does. And the way that you launder money, you have a lot of this cash, and you can't just dump this cash into a bank account. So you've got to... Pardon me for coughing on you. You have to figure out a way to launder the money in such a way where it's untraceable. And so you set up dummy businesses that would naturally take in money from customers. You don't need any customers. You've got the money. The money represents the quote-unquote customer base that you don't have. But you filter that money through the business into those business bank accounts, and eventually that business spends money with other people, and, you filter it back to yourself. That's the way that Joe Biden and Hunter Biden and Jim Biden did their business. 123 Super Talk 99.7 WTN, brand new news regarding the indictment of Hunter Biden. 3 gun charges. Count 3, illegally possessing a gun while addicted to drugs. Count 1 and count 2, lying on an ATF form about drug use when buying a firearm, and lying to federally licensed gun dealers regarding his purchase of said weapon. It's 124 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Hey, friends, it's Matt Murphy. Tennessee Men's Clinic is on my mind. Tennessee Men's Clinic can help men figure out their numbers and figure out exactly where their energy is going, and that's what it's all about. If you're feeling lowered energy, if you don't remember the last time you felt energetic in the afternoon, if you're feeling like afternoon naps have become, just a regular occurrence in your life, or if you've experienced a lack of interest in bedroom activity or going to the gym, I want you to go to the Tennessee Men's Clinic. I want you to schedule this appointment today. It's so easy. I made a call to the Tennessee Men's Clinic this morning, talked to a representative. I was talking about some other things, but when you called, you could talk about scheduling that appointment that you have put off so long. Many men put this off, and it's time you stop doing that. Guys, get with the program, know those numbers, and let Tennessee Men's Clinic assist you in getting your levels back up to where they should be. And when you do, you'll feel that energy again. You feel more energetic. You want to go to the gym. You want to work out. You want to go and do some work in the yard, or you want to get that bedroom activity going back again. You know what I'm saying? Tennessee Men's Clinic. Go to TennesseeMen'sClinic.com or give them a call today at 615-208-9090. 208-9090 for Tennessee Men's Clinic. Get back into the latest with Hunter Biden. The charges against him, 3 separate gun charges, could carry a sentence of 10 years. Not that I expect, because of the two-tier justice system, I don't expect that Hunter Biden will spend a day in jail. But you know what? I've been wrong before. I might be pleasantly surprised. He might have to do a perp walk. That would be nice. These are 3 charges. I was just asked by Ray if these were felony charges. I think they are. But I don't know. But I believe these are felonious charges on the. These are federal gun charges, so this would be a felony charge. Yeah, Bell's shaking his head, so I trust that. All right, we'll get back into that in just a moment. Right now, Lauren Lee is joining us from Proverbs 12:10. You guys know how much I absolutely love and adore our four-leggers, whether they're dogs or cats. And Proverbs does such a great job in helping find homes for our forever homes, if we will, for our friendly pets. And she joins us on the line to talk about an event that they've got going on. Hello, Lauren. How are you?
Hey, Matt. How are you?
It's long time no talk. You been all right?
I know. I'm doing well. Hey, I am thrilled to come on here and talk about our upcoming celebrity golf scramble that we have going on. Every year, Proverbs 12:10 Animal Rescue, we host an annual golf scramble, but this year we're kind of up in the ante by making this a celebrity golf scramble. We're hosting this event on Monday, October 30th, and we are looking for additional golfers to come out, possible sponsors, you name it. It's going to be a great event. We have We've got all kinds of fun activities planned. You could shoot an air cannon down the golf course to see if you can make a hole-in-one. We've got a chance for you to take your shot at trying to beat a golf pro, all while you have some fun and support our amazing animal rescue.
These are two of my favorite things in life, Lauren, dogs and golf. I mean, my goodness, there's not two better four-letter words. Well, I can think of one other four-letter word that I like a lot. But dogs and golf are two really, really good four-letter words, and you're putting those together from Proverbs 12:10. I absolutely love it. Plus, you're doing it on October 30th. Do I smell an opportunity for costumes as well?
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. This is all fun and games on this day. So if anybody's wanting to dress up and come out and play 18 holes, we'd love to have you.
Have you confirmed any celebrities, or is that yet to be decided?
We have confirmed a few. We've still got a few more that we're trying to lock in, but I am happy to kind of share some new information with you and your listeners.
Okay.
So we have some NASCAR champion race car drivers who are going to be joining us. Greg Biffle and Todd Bodine. We've also got some lovely music entertainers. We have Ryan Kinder and Megan Patrick joining us, as well as the three ladies from Runaway June.
Oh, I love it. I love it. Absolutely fabulous organization. Love golf events like this. It's a morning time scramble. What is it, at Hermitage Golf Course? Is that right?
It is, yes. It's an 8 a.m. Shotgun start.
Well, let me tell you, I imagine that you guys are going to fill up pretty quickly. And if you go over to the Proverbs website, and I'll get Lauren to give you the website in just a second. I think, if I remember correctly, I did this last night. There's a golf scramble link right there on the top of the page. Is there not?
There is, yes. Top of the menu. And our website is Proverbs1210rescue.org.
And don't forget to go over to the golf scramble, because what I did last night, I went to the website, Proverbs1210rescue.org, and I got caught up in the adoptable pets. And I was there for about 45 minutes before I got over the golf scramble. I get easily distracted. I'm a little ADHD, Lauren, but it's easy for the four-leggers to distract me. How are things going on that front, by the way, while I've got you? Is everything going well in terms of adoption, or do we need more assistance in that regard?
Oh, Matt, we've really not seen the rescue world facing challenges quite like we have in the past year. It's not for any specific reason that we've been able to point to, other than our lack of spay and neuter laws. But we ourselves and many other organizations and shelters, especially in our area, have just kind of been facing huge uphill battles. We are all completely tapped on resources and the number of fosters that we have. And unfortunately, a lot of us are having to turn away folks as they're finding strays because we simply just don't have enough resources. So this is something that if you have ever thought about fostering an animal, now would be a wonderful time to explore that opportunity, because we need every bit of help that we can possibly get.
Well, I know how much you depend on your foster families, and I would foster more, Lauren, but I would be a complete failure, and I would have 28 dogs at my house. I know that. But you know what? Once the big guy, I love him to death, and I hope he's always with me, but he's 13 years old. That's John Henry. The wife and I have talked about the possibility of being foster families once he's gone, and we would love to assist you in that regard. You guys do such great work. I love you, and I wish you the best on the golf tournament. Give the website one more time so folks can find out more about the scramble. And by the way, before I forget, if you are in need, Lauren, I'm not a celebrity. I'm just kind of a wannabe. But if you have any wannabe slots, just let me know, okay?
I got you on my list, Matt, for sure. We'd love to have you out. But For anybody looking for more information, our website is proverbs1210rescue.org.
There you go. There's Lauren Lee with Proverbs Organization. Thank you so much, and we'll check in before the event again, Lauren. Let's talk, okay?
That sounds great.
All
Thanks,
right.
Matt.
All right, take care. There's Lauren Lee. Proverbs 1210. Go to proverbs1210rescue.org. Very late. It's 1:34 on Super Talk. Hey, friends, Matt Murphy with you. PhD Weight Loss is with me every step of the way on my weight loss journey, and I absolutely could not do it without them. Dr. Ashley Lucas in the PhD program has helped me lose 32 pounds, and I get to step on the scale tomorrow morning and to consult with my nutritionist, Rachel, about next steps in getting it down to even closer to my goal weight. That's what it's all about, right? Is to find that, find the place that you want to be, and you will do so by consulting with your nutritionist, your dietitian. You'll talk about that at the initial stages of the program, and then they give you the tools that you need, the structure that you need, the food, some of the food that you need, and the support staff that you need to make your goal. And if you get close, they'll continue to work with you until you get there. That's the PhD guarantee, right? If you get within, if you don't, rather, I should say, get within 5 pounds of your target weight by the end of your program, they continue to coach you for free until you do. Can't ask for more than that. MyPhDWeightLoss.com for more information about the program created by Dr. Ashley Lucas. It absolutely works. I'm a testimony to it. And folks all around the station, all around Nashville are saying, hey, Murph, you look like you've lost a little weight. I've lost a lot of weight, 32 pounds, and moving toward my goal. I'll get there. I promise you. Thank you to PhD Weight Loss. MyPhDWeightLoss.com. That's MyPhDWeightLoss.com. Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Anthony wants me to dress like John Daly for the Proverbs 12:10. Oh, yeah, I'll wear some of those pants. John Daly has the, what are they called? The big head pants or big mouth pants or whatever they're called. Bell's looking very confused.
You talking about bell bottoms?
No, John, John Daly, the golfer.
The comedian?
There's a comedian named John Daly?
Yeah.
Okay. First I've heard of it. We're living in two different worlds, Kay. Two different worlds, Headless Bell.
That's not untrue.
John Daly, there's a comedian named John Daly?
Yeah.
You
like
sure?
A club level guy.
Are you sure?
Yeah.
Oh, lower level? So the fact that I don't know who you're talking about is no reflection on me?
No, not at all. No.
Thank you, 6902, for getting inside of this. The pants in question are called loudmouth pants, which are perfect for me. The golf scramble is at the Hermitage Golf Course. It's on October 30th. You can find out more by going to Proverbs 12:10. That's the number 12, the number 10. Rescue.org. That's Proverbs 12:10 Rescue.org. What a wonderful organization. So many of you have just noted that you have adopted beautiful animals from Proverbs. They are amazing. Like 8126 said, Proverbs is amazing. I have 3 dogs from them. I highly recommend them.
Both of my cats are from Proverbs.
6902 says, do you want to play? I will put in a team. I've got to talk to Lauren about what she wants me to do. I do want to play. And will, I guess I would have to take. Would I have to take the day off? Yeah, probably.
Probably, yeah.
Yeah, I don't need to have Bloody Marys and then do a radio show.
Yeah, you do.
Well, I mean, how would that be different?
By the way, Wolf of Wall Street is number 2 on the list of most swear words.
Number 2?
Number 2.
Behind? Oh, wait, let me guess.
SwearNet the movie.
Oh, that's
done by the guys that do Trailer Park Boys. 935 F-bombs.
That's not. That's like the Aristocrats. That's not.
Yeah, you're right. It's more, but Wolf of Wall Street, as far as mainstream movies goes, is number 1. But
let me guess how many. Does it tell you how many?
Yes.
520.
No.
Well, I didn't think I was going to nail it.
868.
The Wolf of Wall Street?
Yeah.
868?
Yeah, that's what it's saying.
Who's number 3?
I don't have that.
Oh, okay. I think it beat out Goodfellas, but I could have.
But Wolf of Wall Street is almost actually is over 3 hours long, right? Whereas SwearNet was only 112 minutes.
Well, it's like that feels like what the South Park Boys did back in the day. Remember when they did that? So if you aren't familiar with South Park, years and years ago, Trey Parker and what's the other guy's name?
Matt Stone,
Trey Parker. I love these guys because they're equal opportunity offenders. They don't care who you are. They don't care what your politics are. They don't care what you're about. They're going to pick on you at some point or another, which is why Chef left the show, because he got his panties in a wad because they went after Scientology.
That's not true.
Well, what is true? Then?
Scientology made that up after the fact, after he died.
What? No.
He left the show because he was getting sick.
I don't know.
And then they made it out to be like he was offended, but he wasn't. He never had an issue with them going after Scientology.
Isaac Hayes never had it. That doesn't feel like Scientology to me. It feels like Scientology would have forced him
making up a lie to defend their own honor?
No.
That's totally Scientology.
No, getting their panties in a wad because somebody says something mildly critical of Scientology. That feels like Scientology to me.
No, they do that kind of stuff all the time, where they'll just come out with their own alternative facts.
Well, I mean, I get that. Trust me. Wait a minute. Am I defending Scientology? No, I'm not going to defend Scientology.
Do we have guests in the studio?
Well, they're coming up they're here early. They're coming up at 2:00.
Oh, okay.
They're getting ready. They're tuning up, man. They're getting ready for some hot country licks in here in the studio. Right after 2 p.m. One way or the other, if you want to be a part of the event on October 30th, go to Proverbs1210rescue.org for more information. We have additional information slipping out about Hunter Biden's indictment on 3 separate gun charges. Count 1, lying on an ATF form. Count 2, lying to a federally licensed gun dealer. And count 3, illegally possessing a gun while addicted to drugs. They're all related to his purchase in 2018 of a gun that he now says he no longer has because they threw it out or something or another. David is in Hendersonville with a thought on all of this. Hey, David, how are you?
I'm doing good, Matt. How you doing today, buddy?
I'm fabulous. Thanks for your call.
Hey, no problem. Thanks for taking it. I know what's going to be next since they come out and indicted Trump. Biden. Hunter. I'll get it right.
Oh, you know what's next because it seems like when a Biden shoe drops, a Trump shoe has to drop, right?
Exactly.
It's almost like a this for that, a quid pro quo. So what do you think's coming?
Arizona.
Yeah,
Arizona. He's going to indict it. The governor there, I seen probably 3 weeks or so ago. They had asked her. A reporter had asked her about it, and she said that they were working on it. So I wouldn't doubt it a bit if they indicted him in Arizona.
I mean, yeah, it's almost like the hashtag Me Too, where all of these liberal states want to be a part of these indictments now because the liberals just, it's a love fest, an anti-Trump love fest. And it would not surprise me whatsoever if Arizona became a part of it. All right, David, I got to scoot. Can I go ahead and go to Alice before we go to the break? Okay, good. Alice Rowley's out on the campaign trail. I just got some – Alice will be happy to hear this. Look, I just got this in from the super text line. By the way, Alice Rowley, mayoral candidate in the city of Nashville, Davidson County, running for mayor, asking for your vote. Alice, I just got this on the super text line. You ready?
Yes.
Says, hey, guys, big turnout voting today. It's only 1:40. I just did mine at Donaldson, and many people were going in and out. It looks to me Alice Rowley is going to do very well. I was here for 10 minutes waiting in the parking lot. I counted about 20 people going in and out. I'm just reporting. I think we're in for a big surprise tonight. How about that?
Well, I feel good about how we're doing in Donaldson. We've got some great supporters up there. Julie is a friend of my sister's, and her grandfather was on the city council under Briley, and I think we're going to surprise people about how we are getting supporters in Donaldson.
How's the day gone today, Alice?
Well, we started at 6:45 up at Cantrell's Market, and you haven't lived until you've seen a lady in a tiara starting her day, taking a picture of herself by your sign and not knowing that you were going to show up. So people are working their phones and trying to turn out all their friends, and tiaras or not, go vote.
Has the what's the resonating message that you're getting from people in the latter days in the campaign? I know we talked just yesterday, but I'm so glad we had a chance to check in on actual election day. But what are people talking to you about in these last few days?
Look, last night I was up in Hermitage, and we were sent off from Ace Plumbing up there on Lebanon Pike. And I think the most common thing, people come up to me and they say, thank you for running. Thank you for giving us a choice. Because if we keep doing what we've now done 8 years in a row, which is moving somebody from the city council over to the mayor's office, I mean, that's the definition of insanity. You keep doing the same thing and think you're going to get a different result. So I mean, honestly, I think it's just people saying, like, we've got to just get back to the basics and stop all of this kind of nonsense. So that's probably the overwhelming message, is people just saying, like, hey, just support the police, keep the taxes low, get the potholes filled, and stop all this extra performative stuff with City Hall. We don't need it.
Hey, Alice, I've got a special guest on line one that wants specifically to talk to you, and I'm going to try to do this without screwing it up. Representative Mike Sparks is on the line.
Oh, okay.
Hey, Mike.
Oh, good.
Hey, how you doing? I'm out here at Cane Ridge holding up the sign for one of the smartest, most brightest, compassionate women in the state of Tennessee, Alice Rowley.
How about that?
Oh, well, thank you, Representative. I appreciate that. How's it looking out in Cane Ridge?
Well, I feel good. I got two other people out here, Dr. Nash and Trish Nash, and but I do believe in you, Alice. You know, I told you that time that I felt like Lamar was kind of disconnected, and you brought her to my community, and Smyrna, Rutherford County. That always meant a lot to me, but that showed how much discernment and intuition you have to make a difference. And I've said this, Matt, what happens in Nashville, unlike Vegas, it doesn't stay in Nashville. The crime, the problem, the gangs, that comes to my community, Rutherford County. We've had shootings on I-24. I know Alice is not going to vote to defund the police. She's going to be funding the police, and we need it in the times that we're in. I won't keep you. I just wanted to call in and encourage common sense people, not just conservatives, common sense independents and Southern Democrats and common sense Democrats to get out and support Alice, okay?
Representative, love it. Love the endorsement. Thank you for the call, and I'll let Alice respond to that. How about that? Mike Sparks calling in with a little love and support there, Alice.
Well, I love that, and Mike and I, when I worked in economic development, we got to work together to do some great things in Smyrna. And he's right. This is a time that it is so important to have a mayor of Nashville who recognizes that we can do more when we work with our neighbors, that residents in Smyrna care about traffic as much as residents on the other side in Cane Ridge, and that when we're productive in our relationships with our neighbor, we can actually get more for people in Nashville. So I hope to have the chance to do that, and I thank you.
Alice, what does the rest of the day look like for you? I know you've got the event at Plaza Mariachi tonight, starting at 7 o'clock, and hopefully it's a victory party for you. What's the rest of the day look like?
Yeah, well, we've got a couple more media pieces that we're going to be doing. I'll be greeting voters out in West End at West End Middle School late in the day and at Bellevue Library. And so just greeting voters. And then, like you said, after 7 o'clock when the polls close, come and join us down at Plaza Mariachi.
Alice, best of luck to you. Win or lose, it's been a wonderful campaign. You know, we had someone earlier today ask why you weren't meaner. And I
think you can get more done with honey. I do. I still believe. I know everybody says to me, Alice, you live in this Pollyanna world doesn't exist anymore. But I believe that we can be a light. I believe that people will come to us if we are a light, and that being mean is not the way to get things done for people in Nashville. So I'm not going to do it. They might punch me hard, Matt, but I'm not going to do it.
And by the way, I want you to explain this real quick. I know I'm running late, guys, but real quick, yeah. I want you to explain to Super Texter Chris. He said, wait a minute, she's not running for mayor of Nashville. She's running for mayor of all of Davidson County?
Yeah, well, we are a combined city-county government, and I'm all of Davidson County. And you know, my dad still farms out on the farm my grandparents lived on River Road. So I'm a believer we are one county and that we need to represent the whole county. So get out there. If you're confused, get out there and go vote.
Alice, for the record, here's what I told the caller that said you needed to be meaner. I said, I understand where you're coming from. And if Matt Murphy were running for mayor, it would probably be a different race because I'm naturally a mean person. I'm just an awful human being, and I would just go after these people hammer and tongs. But in all seriousness, I said the worst thing that in my estimation, a political candidate can do is to try to do something that's not who they are. And that I don't know you as well as many. But I've come to know you during this campaign, and you are a genuinely warm, caring individual full of honesty and integrity. And I do not believe that it's in your nature to be mean to your political opponent. I do believe that you think that you can win this race based on a presentation of ideas about the future of the city of Nashville and Davidson County. I do believe that, and I think that you've presented yourself in that way, and you've run your race with such integrity. Maybe not mean enough, but with a lot of integrity. So.
Well, thank you, Matt, and thanks to your listeners. And I know I won't get it all right, including not being mean enough, but we'll do our best and keep going.
I'll teach you, Alice. I'll teach you. I'll teach you how to be meaner. All right, take care. Enjoy the day.
Get off my lawn.
Maybe we'll talk to you a little bit later on tonight at Plaza Mariachi. Coming up in just a moment, we're going to get our attention away from politics and on to country music. We've got a couple of guys in studio that understand country music done the right way. And we'll introduce you to them in just a moment on The Murphy Show on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. I absolutely love McGill's world-famous Glock store for a number of reasons. You guys know I love the Second Amendment. I believe in your right to personal and self-defense, and the Glock store can help you in that regard. They're big, they're bright, they got 35,000 square feet. I mean, their name is the Glock store, right? So you expect they're going to have more Glocks than anyone else in Middle Tennessee. And they do. I would dare say I'd put them up against anybody in the United States of America. But it's more than just Glocks. It's more than just handguns. They've got long guns, accessories, any performance part that you can shake a stick at, they've got. And most of them, they make in-house. I mean, they've got pyramid triggers and tungsten guide rods, extended controls, night sights, all of that under one roof, plus their tactical shooting rooms. Life doesn't happen on a shooting lane. That's why they replicate real life with their shooting rooms to help better train you with their incredible trainers at the world-famous Glock store. These are good people. These are good people with Nashville in their heart, and they ship, they manufacture and ship worldwide, but they have an ability to talk with you as you walk through the door like your family, and I like that about them. The world-famous Glock store on Airlane Drive, just off of Elm Hill Pike. Tell them I sent you to McGill's Glock store.
2 o'clock, I'm Mac Maury with your top stories. Right now, 82 degrees and another sunny day, and kind of got that cool fall crisp feeling in the air. Complete weather forecast coming up just a few minutes away. Starting with some breaking news from Channel 4. This is in Crossville, Tennessee. A potentially explosive device was found at a business there this morning. It prompted a large response from authorities. They are still investigating right now. It was an old mortar, and that's where the explosive device came from, and this all remains under investigation. The Knoxville Bomb Squad is assessing and neutralizing that. Over to some Hunter Biden news. Indicted on gun charges today, Michelle Franzen.
The special counsel investigating Hunter Biden filing 3 felony gun-related charges against President Biden's son, including a charge of making false statements. Special counsel David Weiss indicted Hunter Biden after a plea deal he offered to Hunter Biden on tax-related charges fell apart this summer. ABC's Aaron Katursky has more.
They carry a maximum penalty taken together of up to 25 years in prison. It's unlikely, given Hunter Biden's lack of criminal record, that he would ever serve that much time if he is convicted.
Republicans at the time of the plea deal accused Hunter Biden of getting a so-called sweetheart deal. Here's ABC's Jonathan Carl.
Republicans all along have been saying special treatment. He's getting special treatment because his father is the president. And when you look at this, what the Biden team has said, yeah, it's special treatment, all right. There's no way he would be prosecuted if his name weren't Biden.
It comes just days after GOP House Speaker Kevin McCarthy directed the House to open an impeachment inquiry into President Biden over his son's business dealings.
Right now in Tennessee, Governor Lee making one thing clear with COVID cases on the rise. There will be no mask or vaccine mandates.
We learned in the last one that the government does not need to tell people how to live their lives with regard to their own personal health. Those are decisions that they need to make, and that's the way it'll be going forward.
And the new booster is expected in health departments and pharmacies as soon as this week. In a fatal crash today in Tennessee, News 2 reports that 2 people have died in a crash on 840 westbound out in Wilson County. Happened just before 1 o'clock near mile marker 69, in that left lane and left shoulder still closed. That's the latest news. Weather's next. I'm Mac Maury, WTN News.
All right, here we are. Here we go. It's hour number 3 of the Matt Murphy Show on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Thank you so much for being out there. Let me give you some of the breaking news stories that I know Mac Morey's following in the newsroom, and we're following in the studio, and we'll make you aware of. If you're just tuning in, Hunter Biden has been indicted on 3 federal gun charges. These involve lying to a federally, lying to it. No, well, I mean, I shouldn't say that way. I was saying yes in reference to, there's our Hunter Biden sound.
No, you just told Hunter you wanted to party with him.
You know what? No, I do not. That's too hard for me. There's not a lot of partying.
Didn't keep up?
I mean, seriously, even back in our day, me and you, Bell, you would not roll with Hunter.
No.
God, hell no. That's too hard.
No.
That's hardcore. He's naked.
I would have rolled with Hunter once and then been in the coffin.
I mean, in an hour and a half, he's naked with, hookers and blow and a gun.
And a crack pipe.
In a sensory deprivation tank.
And 90%.
And handing 10% to the big guy. And there's the big guy. No, I couldn't roll with that. Anyway, he's been indicted on 3 federal gun charges. We wait for the other shoe to drop. The anticipation is there's something that's going to come out about Trump, because every time negative news comes out about the Biden family, something negative comes out about Donald Trump. Who knows? Maybe that will be tomorrow. But what we're going to do is take a moment to set aside politics. We talk about it a lot. One of the reasons that I loved the idea, and I was so excited about the idea of moving to Nashville, is my love of country music, particularly old school country music, with no offense to the new guys. I kind of checked out of new country music around 2000, thereabouts. I checked out of most pop culture in about 2000, so it's really no offense to the country music that's coming out. I hear that some of it's great stuff. I'm told all the time I need to get Morgan Wallen in my life and all of that. I'm sure that's true. But I have kept up with some of the old school guys, and I am proud and honored to have someone that I would consider just old school in his soul in our studio, and he's brought a fine guest with him. I'm going to let him introduce his guest. His name is Scott Southworth, and he joins us to talk about a brand new album that he has out, and he is in studio with us. Hey, Scott, how are you? Hey, man. Hold on. I promised that we would get there. There we go.
There we go.
I mean, just one job, okay? One job, and then, 14 jobs. And that's what I see.
Yeah.
What's up, Scott? How are you?
Hey, man, happy to be here.
I got to tell you, I didn't think there was one single redeeming quality about Mark Allen Barnett, but right. I found one. And that is he introduced me to you.
Well, that, and he's a decent pie maker. He's a very good pie maker and an excellent songwriter. So there's that. But yeah, man, that was you was at the Bluebird Cafe in December.
That's right.
You and your wife came out caught that, and we had a big time that night.
It was a fabulous show. I'm sorry that we missed the other show, but there was COVID going around in the house and all of that.
Glad you're feeling better, and glad your wife's feeling better.
We are, and tell me who you brought with you.
Well, I brought my buddy Mark Levy. Who has been part of the Honky Tonk Anonymous band, which is the name of the band that rolls around with me occasionally. Mark and I have been playing guitar and doing gigs together for, I think, going on about 5 years. And
what's going on, Mark?
Hi, y'all.
Look at you with
great
the
to be
y'all.
on the show.
Look at that.
You like that?
Yeah, it's not bad for a Wisconsin boy.
By the way, I can tell that Mark's been around the block a time or two because he knows how dumb radio people are. Because he said it's Mark Levy, it's like gravy. He knows that we're dumb, but we like food.
That's right.
He knew if we went gravy, I will know how to pronounce his name.
No, that's
from
how
now
dumb I am. That's the only thing I know that rhymes with Levy.
Well, plus, come on, Georgia and Alabama, that's where he spent a lot of his time. So gravy is like it's like the fifth food group, right?
Biscuits, you gotta have gravy on it.
Yeah, white gravy, brown gravy.
Everything's good.
You know what? You joke. I grew up in Thompson, Georgia, just outside of Augusta, and I do not. I tell people this, and they have a hard time believing. I do not remember a Sunday where there was not gravy on the table.
I believe you. Okay, so I grew up on the West Coast, and the first time I was ever in the South, I was in Georgia. And some folks I was working with said, we got to go to this Mexican restaurant. It's the great. You never had anything. I was living in the West Coast, San Diego. I know a little bit of Mexican food. So we go there and I order enchiladas, And I get it, and there's this brown stuff on top of the enchiladas. And I said, what is this? And the waitress looks at me like I have two heads, and she goes, gravy. So that's when I learned gravy is a big deal out here.
Did you know about, back in California, did you know about Christmas with Mexican food? If you order
tamales,
if you want Christmas on it, they put both red and green sauce on it. My wife,
I didn't.
My wife taught me about this in New Mexico, where the Hatch green chilies come from.
Yeah.
Where if you order it Christmas style, they'll give you red chili and green chili sauce, and it is tipped. Now it's green chilies are everywhere now, but this was 20 years ago. Back then, we didn't know green chilies in Georgia from Adam's House Cat.
Right. Right.
How did tell me about yourself? I mean, I met you. I so appreciate your music. I love that you are singing country music in the style and tradition of what my grandma and my grandpa taught me. How'd you get started in all this?
Oh gosh, I've been in bands since probably I was about 19 years old. I started writing songs. But I was in rock bands, I was in blues bands, I was in reggae bands, I was playing everything but country. And I'd take these songs I'd write to my musicians, my bandmates, and they'd go, well, that's good, but I don't know what that is. It's not what we're doing. I said, I don't know either. And it was years and years later, because maybe that's why I did so well in radio, because I'm not a smart man. It took me probably 20 years to realize that I was writing country music and had no idea. So...
You mentioned radio. How long did you do radio?
We did the Music Rush show with Hino. Hino and I, we did it for 10 years, 5 years on WLAC, right across the street there from y'all, and then 5 years on WSM, 650 AM.
What were the years, roughly?
2007 to 2017.
You miss it?
No. I loved it.
That was quick. Mark? That was quick.
I loved it. But it got, I don't know how you are. And it's not even a grind. It's just after a while, it's like, I think I've asked everything I want to ask and talked to everybody. I think I want to do something else. I was ready to move on.
And regular listeners to the Matt Murphy Show who think I'm as egotistical as I probably come off, they'll laugh at this, but it is true that when I started in radio, it was all about me.
Mm-hmm.
And if it was still all about me, I would not be in radio anymore.
Right.
When I truly felt like I had found where I wanted to be in my life was when it became about the audience and it became about people like you guys, where all I want to do is get to know y'all.
Right.
Whether it's the audience or Scott or Mark or whoever, when it was no longer about me and it was about learning and absorbing different life experiences, that's when it really became fun.
Right. And it shows. Whenever I listen, you ask a lot of questions when you're talking to people, and I appreciate that.
I just want to get to know them and get to know, what makes folks like Mark and Scott tick.
Well, and I think that's interesting as far as songwriting goes. I don't really necessarily write my story because I'm very uninteresting. I'd rather write about the things that I see. And I listen. I'm always listening to people and hearing their stories, and that's to me much more. If I'm doing a bunch of honky tonk songs about my life, I just have to keep thinking of what else rhymes with asleep on the couch by 8:30 at night, and hanging out with the dogs and my wife, and it's just not. It's not as interesting. But I spent enough time on the road playing music that I watched so many little dramas unfold around me, and I've just kind of cataloged them all and put them out in songs later.
I mean, it's that question that I'm not supposed to ask, but it's the fascinating part of songwriting is that, is it different for every songwriter? That you've experienced? It's a very personal way that you go about it. Is that a fair way to put it?
Well, I would say there's just no one way. There's no one way to write a song. There's no one way to put music out. There's no one way to have a career in it. There's, especially now as the world has changed with technology, there's just everybody has their own path. But as far as writing, I've written with people that do gibberish and play, and we'll just like there's
the famous McCartney, the scrambled eggs, right?
Yeah.
Yesterday was scrambled eggs. Because he wrote so some artists it's the song, it's the melody, it's the music first, lyrics later. Does it happen the other way?
Yeah,
too.
And it's not even like sometimes I'll write something. I'll come up with a progression and write a song around the music. Other times I'll just have an idea in my head and lyrically, and then I'll find the music around that. So it just depends.
What I don't understand is the Elton John model. Because it took the movie for me to realize that he had a lyricist.
Right.
I didn't know that. It's Bernie Tobin. Is
Right.
that
Yeah.
And what's fascinating to me, not Elton John's role, because I can understand getting what are essentially poems at that point or just on the written word and then figuring out what music goes with it. It's the Tobin role.
Right.
What's in his head that he writes down that he then translates to Elton John for him to put music to it. That's just that collaboration is fascinating.
Bernie Taupin.
Is it
Taupin?
Bernie Taupin.
Thank you, Bell.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Got to
Bell.
get it right.
Thank you, Bell.
In this city, you got to get it right.
I appreciate that.
And there's a lot of I know a lot of people here in town that's all they are lyricists, and there's other people that all they do is grooves and music. So
they put it together.
It's a matter of finding those people. When you first come to town, you want to listen, go out and just listen, and then when you start playing, it's not to go out and get discovered or make it big initially. Maybe it is. I don't know. For me, it never was. It was about finding my tribe, finding those people that I write with well, because some of my best friends I might hang out with all the time or talk to all the time, and we've never written a song together.
As we are speaking, Joe Biden is speaking. Do you want me to go to this? Is that what you're asking me to do?
I'm asking you if you want me to.
I
Because
don't.
he's talking about, I think, we're going to get questions about Hunter's indictment.
Yeah, well, let's monitor that, and we'll see where it goes. If you guys can monitor it back in the newsroom, and you know what, Bell, this is the joy of being the executive producer of the show. You have to listen to Joe Biden while I listen to Skeet.
I know you hate me, but you don't have to make it so obvious.
I'm not. No, there's not a moment in my life that I want to go to Joe Biden less than right now. But I tell you what, we will do. We'll go to break. We'll continue talking to Scott and Mark, and we'll talk about this new album. I call them albums. I mean, that's okay.
That's all right. You can call it that.
It's called "Coming Around to the Honky Tonk Again," which has got a lot of great cuts on it. We might hear one or two, right?
You just might.
I love that. We'll be back in a moment. Matt Murphy Show. It is 2:20 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
No, I'm sure it's you.
The latest on the Hunter Biden indictments, a small plane crash in Middle Tennessee today, plus a second major hotel and casino company targeted by a cyber attack. That and more 30 minutes after the hour of 2 o'clock right here on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Thank you, Mac Moore. You monitoring this big Joe Biden speech? President Joe Biden? Monitoring that? How's that going?
It's great.
Hey, you know what? I feel.
Where are you? Where is everybody?
I feel a little compelled. I feel like I would be doing a disservice to the listening audience if we did not gyp some of this, join it in progress. So here's what I want you to do, Belle. Go ahead and give us a little of this. Okay, and that's enough. Thank you. There's Joe Biden speaking about the United States economy.
Mr. Wise guy over here.
Well, you know how it goes, Mr. President. Scott Southworth is with us. He's brought his good buddy Mark Levy in with him to talk about their album. Just talking about their career in Nashville, Tennessee. When did you come to Nashville? Oh, you're so smart.
I got it. I got here
You got his back. I was going to yell at him again,
I'm here
too.
for him.
Yeah.
I'm here for you, Bill. 2004. We moved here in November of 2004, 4 days before Thanksgiving. And just, golly.
How's it been?
It's been awesome. It's been awesome.
Did you meet Mark after you moved here?
I met Mark 5 years ago at an airport in San Antonio. And you know the scene in Planes, Trains, and Automobiles where he's sitting across from Steve Martin?
Oh, yeah, the pillow scene. Yeah, I got it. Yeah.
No, not the pillow scene. Those aren't pillows.
I'm so sorry.
no. Those aren't pillows. No, I was sitting across from him.
Close.
We're not that close. And I said, man, you play guitar, don't you? And he goes, yeah.
Wait, there was no guitar on his person?
There was no guitar on your person, was there?
What?
I don't know why. I just knew. I think it was the earrings and plus he has that big tattoo on his forehead that says guitar player.
Yeah. For hire.
For hire.
That kind of works that way, yeah.
Yeah. No, I don't know. I don't know why I even said that, but and then we ended up getting stuck on the tarmac for a couple hours, and so we started talking and we just became buddies. And he's just been an amazing touring friend and guitar player out there. So he's a good guy, and we're able to actually hit more areas now that the ankle bracelet came off. So we're excited about that.
Yeah,
and he can
that's
glad to be out
there.
again.
Yeah,
that's
nice to have you back.
Find a better parole officer.
Yep.
The right parole officer makes all the difference.
That's
Mark.
right.
Yep.
That's
Yeah,
right.
really does.
Scott pulled a few strings.
I did. I have a lot of pull in this town. Let me tell you. You know, I did have an AM radio weekend show.
This town has a lot of strings too. Yeah. So I tell you what, we got about 4 minutes before the bottom of the hour news, or 3 minutes before the bottom of the hour news. You guys play us a cut. And then we'll come back after the news. We'll talk a little bit about that and talk about some other stuff.
I'll do one that I think is just perfect for WTN. And I was worried about being able to do it until I heard you talking about the German Shepherd, and you said piss 3 times right there. So I think I can do this song.
Oh, yeah.
It's a whistling song, Belle and Matt, if you guys want to whistle along.
Mac Morey back there in the newsroom.
Just about everything pisses me off. Walk around mad all day. I come into this world middle finger first, probably going out the same way. Well, you got your rats on the left and your vermin on the right. Keep us riled up cause they like to watch us fight. And if we're all distracted, then we won't even care. When they get out of office, they're all multi-millionaires. And just about everything pisses me off. Walk around mad all day. Come into this world, middle finger first. Probably going out the same way. Well, you got your kids running around with their faces in their folks. 10 years of college and they live in mama's home. They're triggered and they're tweeting, think their life is such a rut. I wish you'd take that hashtag and stick it up their butt. Just about everything pisses me off. Walk around mad all day. I come into this world middle finger first, probably going out the same way. Come on there, Mr. Levy. Well, them foreign jobber call centers drive me up a wall. Fast food drive-through always gets it wrong. Don't get me started on them freaking robocalls. It's a miracle I'm ever sober at all. Just about everything pisses me off. Walk around mad all day. I come into this world middle finger first, probably going out the same way. I said I come into this world middle finger first, and I'm probably going out the same way. 2, 3, well.
That's the new theme song of the Matt Murphy Show right there.
There you go.
I can't think of a better
eating
one.
Crackers before that song.
No.
Absolutely not. Middle finger first. That's the final cut on the album, Coming Round to Honky Tonk Again. We'll continue the discussion with Scott and Mark in just a moment on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
31 minutes after the hour of 2 o'clock, I'm Mac Morey with your top stories. 81 degrees and a sunny day in Music City. Expecting a lot of the same the rest of the week. Full weather forecast in 2 minutes. President Biden's son, Hunter Biden, has been indicted by Trump-appointed special counsel David Weiss on 3 felony gun charges. The charges are related to giving false statements and illegal possession of a firearm. Pierre Thomas says it comes after a recent plea agreement with Weiss imploded.
Hunter Biden is seeing the consequences of that plea deal falling apart. It's in tatters, and today he stands indicted on 3 felony counts. And it all stems from the fact that he was addicted to crack cocaine. According to prosecutors, at one point in 2018, he was using crack cocaine every 15 minutes. And later that year, they claimed that he walked into a gun store in Delaware and filled out a form to buy a Colt revolver. And in that form, he stated that he was not a user of drugs, that he was not addicted to any kind of narcotics. That was not true.
And right now in Middle Tennessee, a small plane crashed in rural Giles County this afternoon. Authorities say it crashed near Vito Road, which is near the Alabama and Tennessee state line. It's unknown at this time where the plane departed from, and no injuries have been reported. And a second major hotel casino company says it, too, was targeted by a cyber attack. Dave Packer.
In a filing with federal regulators, Caesars Entertainment saying it was a target of a cyber attack this month, which stole troves of customer data. The Wall Street Journal reporting that Caesars paid some $15 million to prevent the release of that information. This as MGM Resorts continues to recover from a cyber attack that left guests unable to make reservations, use slot machines, or even get into their rooms. The FBI said it's investigating the MGM attack and has been in contact with the resort chain since Sunday.
And that is the latest news. Weather's next. I'm Mac Morey, WTN News.
Hey, folks, Matt Murphy, Kraft Body Scans on my mind. It is such an easy and preventative way for you to examine the inside of your body. right? And I know you're thinking, what are you talking about, Murphy? I can't look at the inside of it. But you can, and Craft Body Scan has figured out the way to do that. CT scans are not new. They've been around, but the technology has advanced so much in the last several years alone. Craft Body Scan's been doing this since 2017. They have locations all around the Southeast, and they have recently opened an office in Nashville. And right now, for $149, a heart and lung scan can be yours and a spouse, a significant other. If you bring another person in, for both of you, it's $149 to get your heart and lung checked out. September is Preventative Heart Disease Month. In other words, we want to try to help you get on top of a situation that might grow into something serious. If you find it early, if you detect it early, it is everything when it comes to preventing serious disease. So right now, I encourage you to go to craftbodyscan.com. That's craftbodyscan.com. Once again, it's a $149 couple heart and lung scan at Craft Body Scan. Book online or give them a call. 615-436-1000, 436-1000. You know, it's hard to find someone that you can trust in the heating and air conditioning industry. That doesn't mean that there aren't good people. They are good people, but a lot of these companies work on commission, and sadly that incentivizes people that come to your home to try to upsell you with things that you really don't need, like a new heater. Well, they don't do that at Efficient Heating and Cooling. Jeff, Eddie, they don't desire to be the biggest HVAC company in the world. As a matter of fact, their desire is 100% customer satisfaction and doing what you want and giving you the knowledge and information that you need to make an appropriate decision. Because the fact of the matter is, like everything else in your life, your heater, your air conditioner has a life cycle to it. And eventually it will go out, but you don't want to lose 2 or 3 or 4 years on the back end because a guy tries to upsell you on a new heater. Now's the time to get maintenance on your heater. I tell you this all the time. You get your teeth cleaned, right? Once every 6 months or so. I hope you do. You get your oil changed, right? Why do you do that? Because you value your teeth. You value your car. Well, if you value your heater, spend the money, get it maintained, let Jeff and his team take a look at it, and they're going to clear up any issues that you might have. That's going to extend the life of that heating unit. Do that today. Call 615-784-4424. Efficient offers free financing on your next unit. Ask them about that. They're a diamond contractor with Mitsubishi Electric and an Elite Pro partner with Rheem. Once again, 615-784-4424 or efficienthvac.net. Well, I don't know about you guys, but much like John Belushi said in the fabulous feature film The Blues Brothers, we like both kinds, country and Western, around here. Scott Southworth is with us with his good buddy, Mark Levy. They're talking to us about this great album, Coming Round to the Honky Tonk Again, which is this thing is just out, right? I mean, this is fresh.
It's fresh. It's fresh. It came out last Tuesday, and there was throngs of people went crazy. I feel bad because Ashley McBride and Tyler Childers put out a CD last week too, and so I feel like maybe I took
overshadowed a little bit.
Maybe I just took a little bit too much air out of the room. I feel like Ashley's probably feeling like I probably took something away from her.
Yeah, it gets that way.
Yeah, she's probably pretty concerned. What do you think, Mark?
I'm thinking that happens.
Yeah. I'm concerned. Did I hear you say in that last live that you're supposed to brush your teeth once every 6 months?
No, just clean. Get them clean.
Oh, clean.
With a dentist.
Clean.
Yeah, clean
Okay.
with a dentist.
Phew, good. Because I'm at least twice that.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm good.
Who's your? This is an unfair question. I'll ask both. Who's your favorite?
My favorite.
I asked the question.
Jennifer.
Who's your favorite?
My favorite doodle, my favorite dog is Maybelle. My favorite wife is Jennifer. My favorite artist.
Got a lot of wives, do you?
Well,
I was going to say.
Yeah, man. Mark.
She's still my favorite. She still introduces me as she introduces me as her first husband after 32 years together.
Ooh.
So that just
I'm going to make you tell a story you just told off the air that you're like everybody loves your music. I mean, you've been old school, and we're kind of circling back to that. I think as a society and as a city, and I love it. I love seeing it. I love everything about it.
Same.
But what does your wife say? What did you say your wife says when they ask her what type of music she likes?
Not Scott. Her favorite is not Scott.
And what did I tell you? I said my wife, if I start going off on a toot, and she goes, "Not on the radio. Not on the radio." Just shut it down. Close it down.
You get 3 hours where people want to hear you. This is not one of those 3 hours.
Exactly
That's right. This is the other 21 hours, so hush.
You talk about songwriting, and you reminded me of the master. I heard the story. I think Ken Burns did this in his documentary too. That Hank Williams,
who's about to have his 100th birthday this weekend.
How about that?
Yeah,
the Hillbilly Shakespeare. Somebody was driving him back. I think a family member was driving him back to Montgomery, as the story goes. And he was lying in the back seat and asked how close they were. And somebody in the front seat says, "I can see the light, Hank."
Yep.
And when they got to Montgomery, he had written the song, "I Saw the Light."
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, it's just that's just
the thing about songwriting is you can have songs that take you years. Middle Finger First, as simple as that song is, that somebody brought me that hook 15, 16 years ago, and I couldn't find the song. It wasn't until a couple years ago that the song kind of presented itself to me. So you can chase a song for years, and other times, I woke up in the morning in Cincinnati, Ohio at a Holiday Inn, 6 a.m. I was thinking about everything I had to do that day, and all of a sudden I just sat straight up and said, "Here comes the night." Boom. And I was, what on earth is that? And I looked around, and other than the Van Morrison tune, there wasn't. I didn't find a country song like that. And times they just come out.
Come to you.
And other times, boy, you fight and wrestle, and you'll play it out and realize, well, Mark Allen Barnett calls these glow songs, where if you start playing and everybody looks on their phone and starts playing Candy Crush, you know that song isn't working. It's not catching anybody's attention. Glow songs. If you start seeing the glow from all the phones, you know that song isn't right.
It's not popping.
Right. So either rework it or get rid of it and move on to write something else.
All right, we got about 6 minutes left, and I don't want to get in front of the music. I want you to play another tune from the.
I would love to.
From the CD.
And if I can, I really want to invite people tomorrow. the Release the Hounds Festival in Bon Aqua. It's the first time they're doing this festival. It's a fundraiser for the Release the Hounds organization, and they raise money and support no-kill animal shelters, and we're both big dog lovers.
Love that.
So the doors open at 5. The music starts at 6:15. It's going to be Jenny Tolman, Flat River Band, Travis Tidwell, Boomtown Saints, Outlaw Apostles, me and the Honky Tonk Anonymous Band. As my buddy Billy Block used to say, there's nobody like us. No, nobody likes us. But either way, we're going to be there, and we're gonna play. We start around 6:20, 6:40, something like that. But it's going to be a great time, and you can go to releasethehounds.org to learn all about the festival and how to support this great organization.
That's tomorrow. Man, oh man.
Tomorrow.
I want part of that.
Yeah,
I'm in on that.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I don't know why anybody would want to see me, but I'll be in the back. I'll be the guy in the hat.
It's at the Storytellers Hideaway Farm, which Johnny Cash used to own that place.
Oh, yeah.
So it's going to be a big time.
I had one. It wasn't Mark. It wasn't John Mark, but I had some folks that I guess they own the farm now.
Sure, yeah.
That came in last year, and I wish I could remember their names, but it was just a fascinating story about his farm, the old place, and how he used to go out there and find a little respite, from the big city of Hendersonville.
From the big city of Hendersonville. Yeah. Well, nobody knew about that one.
Play us a cut. Let's do it.
Okay, let's do Here Comes the Night. I'll do that 6 o'clock in the morning song. 2, 3, 4, 1, 2. Here comes the night, right on time, and I'm so lonely. Sun goes down, leaving nothing but the blues. All day I'm fine, you'd never know by looking at me. Every night I'm still crying over you. In the morning I'll wake up, light my first and fill a cup, feed the dogs, pack a lunch, and get on gone. I'll clock in and earn my pay, work it through another day. Deep inside my heart is dreading what's to come. Here comes the night, right on time, and I'm so lonely. Sun goes down, leaving nothing but the blues. All day I'm fine, you never know by looking at me. Every night I'm still crying over you. When the evening starts to fall and the shadows climb the walls, that's when time begins to crawl and tortures me. I've tried whiskey, beer, and wine. Nothing drinks you off my mind. And in the dark I'm haunted by your memory. Here comes the night, right on time, and I'm so lonely. Sun goes down, leaving nothing but the blues. All day I'm fine, you'd never know by looking at me. Every night I'm still crying over you. Come on there, Mr. Lady. Yeah, man. Every night I'm still crying over you. Here comes a night. Beatles ending.
Love it.
Man, thank you for
good.
Thank you for letting me come in. And I was going to come in and announce my write-in candidacy for mayor, but it figured it was probably too late.
Oh, you always give it a go. You got 4 hours, Scott.
You
Come
think?
on.
Well, my platform would be build an underground rail tunnel from Lewisburg to Nashville, so I didn't have to deal with the traffic. You think that's reasonable?
It seems a little self-serving, but you can go for it and see. I mean, it's not like any other
Self-serving
politician.
politicians? What are you talking about?
That's exactly.
How dare you, sir?
Listen,
man.
guys, this has been fabulous, an absolutely fabulous almost hour. Absolutely love it. Tell me a little bit more about what you guys are doing. I know you mentioned Bon Aqua. By the way, Brian and Sally Oxley is who I was trying to think of, who currently own Storytellers out there.
Nice.
So that's very good. So you got Bon Aqua tomorrow night.
Yes.
And what else is going on? I mean, you're doing some traveling?
I'm doing some traveling, heading to Germany in October to headline the Nashville Just Like Cash Days. So I'll be doing, I Hear the Train A-Comin', and doing as many Cash songs as I can. And then in February, heading to New Zealand.
Give the old hello.
Hello.
I'm not Johnny Cash.
I'm not Johnny Cash. I'm not Scott.
Your wife would like that.
That's right. She just called saying, I'm listening. No, but so it's New Zealand in February. In November this year, we'll be at the Frank Brown Songwriters Festival. And just go to scottsouthworth.com. That's where you can find all of the information of the shows on Twitter and Instagram. I'm at Say Howdy Scott. Facebook is Scott Southworth Music, and Tinder is at Bell K. That's where you find me on Tinder. Just
the biggest question being asked right now, I'm
Yes.
holding this up to the camera, is how people can get this, because a lot of people are asking that question.
God bless you. If you actually want to buy a physical CD, go to scottsouthworth.bandcamp.com. That's scottsouthworth.bandcamp.com. If you want to download it, you can go to any of the platforms.
All the platforms?
Yeah.
It's
I'm
on there.
not hard to find.
Well, I love it. I think we need to make middle finger first, just shoot up the iTunes chart. How about that?
How happy that would make me? Even if
me happy too.
If it became your theme song, I would love that. Mm-hmm. Not to do that.
Oh, we might have to make that happen.
or make Dan Mandis play it or something.
It's certainly my spirit animal right now.
Really?
I'll tell you that. Guys, thank you. It's been an absolute
Thank you very much.
A pleasure. We'll talk with Brian Wilson in just a moment. Find out what's going on the drive right after this on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Thanks again to Scott Southworth and Mark Levy for stopping by and getting us away from the political world for just a moment or two. I know that we need to get back to it. I know there's a lot going on, and Brian Wilson is going to help us do just that. But it was a nice respite away from the world of politics for a moment. The album, again, is called Coming Round to Honky Tonk Again, and it's available on iTunes and all of that stuff. Hey, Brian Wilson, how you doing, man?
I'm doing well. An incredibly busy day in the news. 3 gun charge indictments against Hunter Biden have come down this afternoon. It is election day in Nashville. We'll have Representative Andy Ogles on at about 4:35, and the public is demanding that we come back with another edition of Mac Maury's Wide World of Sports.
I loved it.
You do not want to miss it.
Let me tell you, Brian, not that anything is better than you on your own show, but that's a pretty dadgum good segment that you got going on.
Well, thank you. And we have a little. You got to have a little fun along with all of the medicine that we have to take.
Well, we look forward to it. We'll get back to the news with Brian Wilson coming up in mere moments, right after the actual news with Mac Maury, and that's coming up right now on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. We're back tomorrow for a Friday edition, folks. Until then, have a wonderful afternoon. So long.